The armed forces provides amazing training.
I think about veterans as people who have already figured out how to serve.
My military skills have been essential.
Hiring veterans is a great business case. They're the best employees we have. They're flexible, hardworking, and they're used to a global workplace.
If that isn't an asset to any company, I don't know what is.
Hiring America, the award-winning television job fair for American veterans. Connecting you with companies who know your value. Learn about employers who are actively hiring today and organizations that support veterans. Your future success starts right here on Hiring America.
Hiring America, produced in partnership with DAV, fulfilling our promises to the men and women who served.
Welcome to Hiring America. I'm Lauren Wanko. Today we have a special show about veterans and the issues they face in the workforce. It's a town hall meeting from the George W. Bush Institute in Dallas, co-produced with WorkingNation, a not-for-profit dedicated to exposing hard truths about the looming unemployment crisis and bringing the country together around solutions for a changing economy. We assembled a group of business leaders, national and local leaders, nonprofits, and veterans to have a frank conversation about the many programs and initiatives that are helping veterans transition into the civilian workplace and the work that still needs to be done. Here's my colleague, Stephanie Tsai.
Texas has a huge veteran population. By one count, as many as 40,000 vets have settled in the state and are looking for work. Let's talk about how the state and local businesses are tackling the issue. Joining us now are Ruth Hughes, Commissioner representing employers for the Texas Workforce Commission. Andrew Morton is the Executive Director for the Society for Human Resource Management, also known as SHRM. Jason Oliver is the VP of Talent Acquisition for AT&T. Maria Terry, spokesperson for the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. And finally, Larry Hughes, Vice President of Franchising Systems for 7-Eleven. Thank you so much for joining us, all of you. I'd like to start this panel with you, Commissioner Hughes, and all the great things Texas is doing for veterans. Talk about Operation Welcome Home.
It has several components. One of them is that we created the ability to provide funding for training for skills for veterans. So there's a component that has funding for training and identifying what type of training an active member or recent veteran may be interested in. One thing Texas has is the texas2skills.com, where you can go online, put in your MOS, your military occupation, and it will translate what those skills are so that you can be a better advocate for yourself, or HR professionals can better understand what you did.
And can veterans around the country use that?
This is something that's available online, absolutely. And there are many resources such as that. We also in Texas have College Credit for Heroes, where we translate skills so that you can get, most of our programs, you get an average of 25 credit hours. In our community college partners, we have 47 across the state.
All right, I want to bring our two other veterans on the panel into this conversation. And Maria, I'll start with you. You were leaving the military and trying to get into the HR field. What was your personal experience, and can you share what you learned from it and what other veterans can learn from it?
I experienced a little bit of a roadblock trying to communicate to employers that I had the experience to do the job in HR. My previous service in the military, I took care of soldiers. I took care of their pay. I made sure they were paid timely. I processed reports for units.
You mean you did HR?
Yes. I did do HR.
Why didn't that translate when you were applying for jobs?
It didn't translate because I didn't have the experience in the industry. So someone would look at me and say, well, you know, all you have is experience in the military. You have no experience in the industry with an insurance firm or with a technology firm. So that was the roadblock that I experienced. And even though I served 4 years in active duty, at the time when I was looking for employment, I was a U.S. reservist. I started at a job in HR with zero experience in their books, although I had over 4 years of experience in the U.S. Army.
Andrew, you're in human resources as well. Why can't employers see? Maria did human relations in the military. I could bring her here. She could fit in.
Well, I will tell you, I think it's an evolving process. You know, the biggest challenge really that I think we all face as veterans and employers is going from veteran-friendly to veteran-ready. And veteran-friendly is a 15% discount, but being veteran-ready is really bridging the divide between the we-will world of the military to the at-will world and reality of the private sector. And there's inherent challenges, not just in the skill sets, but in communicating and debunking myths and stereotypes and perceptions. And by the way, that's not, veteran-ready doesn't mean the employer. There's also the veteran in that too. Veteran's not in the middle of the triangle. The veteran is a part of the triangle of all these great organizations, the employer and the veteran. No one's in the middle. The veteran has a big role and responsibility. The veteran has to be able to actualize and articulate. And that means they need to figure out not only what they're capable of doing, but what they're willing to do. And then the employer needs to appreciate and accommodate. And appreciate doesn't necessarily mean thank you for your service. It means an understanding of the skill sets that the veteran brings to the table.
Yeah, it's a great point. Larry, I wonder if when you got out of the military, if it was a clear path to you how to find yourself in corporate culture and exist there in a way that would lead to success, and whether there was a cultural change you had to process.
Yeah, well, one of the things that when I transitioned, I can recall the perception being that military leadership is about this reliance on the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and I issue orders, you follow orders, and what I quickly found was that the same thing that makes leaders successful in corporate America makes leaders successful in the military. It's the same formula. So as I began to better understand that, I became more comfortable with my transition. And I would tell you, as we have engaged transitioning veterans, both on the corporate side and through franchising, one of the things that we have found is that there is sometimes this lack of confidence. They don't fully appreciate everything that they bring to the table. They're making our company better. They're adding value to our company. It's not about us, we're not trying to do a favor.
Right.
We're actually a better company because of their presence.
We'll have more of this town hall discussion from the George W. Bush Presidential Center in a moment.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran, but after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. I am a veteran. My victory is just enjoying each day.
For help with employment or obtaining your veterans' benefits, visit jobs.dav.org.
I want to bring Ruth back into the conversation when we talk about retention, because it's all well and good to give a job to a veteran. It's another thing to set them up for success, either for their next job or with upward mobility within the company. What are success stories that you've heard, ways that companies can retain these veterans and really bring them to the next level?
Mentorship is such an important part, and I think that companies are aware of that and are really looking at that training component and trying to put that investment in making sure that they not only hire, but they retain, and that they maintain that company value that they have put out there. We started in Texas a We Hire Vets program so that employers who have 10% of their workforce as Texas veterans get a recognition, and we thank them and with a We Hire Vets decal. And while it's symbolic, it's been very effective and well received. Yeah. And part of that 10% margin is to really have that retention piece so that it isn't just that you've hired a veteran and so you're being recognized, but you have actually committed to that retention.
Andrew, I know you probably have some thoughts on retention and what works there as well.
Sure, and you know, what we really want to do is we want to get more people into a position of good fit. We want this maturation of understanding to really focus on the search and discovery phase so that thrive can really happen because it's a byproduct of a good fit.
We're going to open things up to questions from the audience, but first I want to look at some of the other answers that Working Nation got when we asked vets via social media to tell us what's the hardest thing you face when looking for work, and a lot of the answers reflect what we've been just talking about. Steve Campbell writes, depends on the jobs. Government services offer a boost to vets. Lots of places respect the ability required to be a success in the military. As a Vietnam veteran, I used these aids, plus we had the GI Bill for education and loans. Mike Henry tells us, when I came home from Vietnam, every job application asked your draft status, and if you were a veteran, you were immediately not considered. Let's take your questions, sir, please.
I have a question about a word that hasn't been mentioned yet, and that's the word spouse. Who's addressing the issue of spouses? Because we're a two-income household.
Well, part of Operation Welcome Homes includes the military support for the family, and there's funding to assist the spouses in the transition. We know that spouses and families serve with the veteran and the active member and make the same sacrifices and have a lot of transition issues themselves as they have to move. And so there is a component of funding with respect to that as well, so that if you will find your local workforce solutions near you in Texas or go to texasworkforce.org, we can point you in that right direction. And veterans and their spouses have priority hiring. So you go to the front of the line for services and for anything that we can do to assist you, whether it's education, career, entrepreneurship, career, technical, any of the areas that you may be interested in. We have those resources here to provide in Texas, and we're very cognizant of the importance of it, including the spouses.
From an AT&T perspective, of course, we'd love to selfishly hire as many family members, veterans, you name it. But one of the things we do is, look, we partner. That's one of the things I'm really proud about is if you go to AT&T.jobs/military, anyone in this room, anyone in the nation can get onto one of our, and just we can help. We can talk. We can talk about your skill sets relative to AT&T, and we can say, hey, have you partnered with the Texas Workforce Commission? Have you partnered here? So my answer is it's not one sole entity or organization that's going to make the difference. It's the collective community.
It's the collective. All right, let's take the next question, please.
Yeah. My question is, and it's addressing that fit, have there been any programs that have explored like a job shadowing period, 3 or 4 weeks, where employers could bring in veterans to let them see what a functioning HR, functioning engineer, functioning accountant looks like? And that allows the employer to see if there's a cultural fit to their company, but also lets them understand, hey, I thought I wanted to be an accountant, but really that's not what excites me. I actually think I want to go into HR, and it could address that fit. Are there any programs like that that have been considered?
The Department of Defense has developed an externship program from 180 days out. Each of the respective services can ultimately have a service member apply to participate in a work-study program and still be paid active duty pay. So they have an opportunity to get that experience, to see if that's the right fit for them, and to ultimately benefit from that, and then move on to that what's next.
Can I also respond as well? We do some level of job preview to make sure it's a good fit on the front end. But beyond that, our training program is pretty extensive now. So when folks come into our company, the typical entry point is a field consultant, and this is a liaison to anywhere from 8 to 10 franchise owners. Before we light them up and they go live with a subgroup of stores, they'll spend up to 14 months, sometimes a little longer, really learning the job. There was a previous question about spouses, and I will tell you, on our franchising side, we have franchised to many veterans, and their spouses are also owners. They are co-owners of record. They manage those businesses together, and they've had a lot of success doing that.
Be a part of this important conversation and find more of this town hall discussion at WorkingNation.com. When we come back, learn how 7-Eleven is making an impact on this veteran's life.
When the door opened and all the customer came in, it's such a dream come true. This is the future for my family. For 30 years, I served my country, and now it's time for me to serve my community. My name is Evelyn Scott, and originally I'm from the Philippines. In 1987, when I first joined the Navy, not too many female at that time. I struggle a little bit. I have a heavy accent. Some people make fun of me, and I use that as a challenge. It built my character that I'm gonna do better. I made Master Chief in 17 years, and then I became a Command Master Chief. When I start looking of what I'm gonna do after I retire, I start looking at some business. And what attracted me about 7-Eleven, I'll see them overseas when I deploy. It's a comforting feeling to see a brand that back home is just in your backyard.
There is an untapped resource in terms of franchise ownership, and that's women and veteran franchise owners. For us, that's an opportunity. The 7-Eleven franchise giveaway contest is creating an awareness that will lead to more and more women and more veterans joining our franchise family. Nearly 1,000 applicants competed to win a franchise fee-free store. So many of the skills that they fine-tune in the military, like leadership, communication, problem solving, also makes them successful as a 7-Eleven owner. And we know that our franchise giveaway winners, like Evelyn, are exceptional.
When they handed me the key, it's just such an excitement. I went through a lot of training. They come and visit me and check what's my level in school. My daughter has been with me all the way through the training. When I saw her behind the counter, it really makes me feel so good. I miss a lot of the opportunity to watch my kids because of the deployment. Now that I have a granddaughter, I would like to watch her grow up. This is my children's and my grandchildren's future.
I knew she could do it. She was the first Filipina Command Master Chief in the Navy. The support that 7-Eleven has for you, she said that's like how the military is. She wanted to become part of their family, and so do I.
The Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment she upholds very well, and I believe she'll bring that into her store.
She doesn't let anybody steamroll over any of her people. She's definitely got the background to do it. She knows how to go in, get the job done. I definitely don't see failure in her outcome at all.
As part of winning the franchise contest, 7-Eleven will make a charitable contribution to the charity of her choice. Evelyn has chosen 2 local high schools, and I think that just underscores her commitment to the local community.
7-Eleven is highlighting something that's really important to all of us by giving opportunities to veterans to really expand not only into their community, but for their family's benefit as well.
Sometimes veterans think that companies are doing them a favor when they bring them on board. The companies aren't doing the veterans a favor. The veterans are adding value to these organizations, and we just need to make sure veterans understand that. I'm very excited that 7-Eleven is the first franchise organization to have a veterans and a women's franchise giveaway.
For my fellow veterans that's having a hard time, don't give up. The success is through hard work. Look for the things that you enjoy in life and go for it.
Thanks for watching. The information we've just shared is all on our website, hiringamerica.net. Log on and find out more about the companies who are hiring veterans. And connect with us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, where you can find helpful tips and full episodes of the show. I'm Lauren Wanko. Join us again next week for another episode of Hiring America.
Hiring America, produced in partnership with DAV, fulfilling our promises to the men and women who serve.